Hey everybody, it's Lewis Porter Jr. I just wanted to do a quick little video on something that I saw that kind of freaked me out from a purely comic book standpoint. So I was looking on the internet and looking at tomorrow's comic book coming out, which is Wednesday, and then I noticed the new Daredevil's coming out with a new Elektra in it. I'm like, okay, this is going to be written by Chip Zdarsky, and I was just looking at it real quick, nothing major. And then I looked over at the price, and the cover price is $3.99. And then I looked at the page count. Now the page count said 28 pages. Now I'm from an era that comic books were 32 pages. I'm also a graphic designer and web designer with about 30 years experience in graphic design and publishing. And I know that nowadays they're doing book signatures in individual sheets. When I was first doing it, back in the golden days, they used to take a big sheet of paper and fold it down to where they made a signature, which was 16 pages. So that's why in the olden days, books had to be either 16 pages or 32 pages that fit in the signatures. But now, print on demand, you can do 4 pages very easily, just one signature, both sides, front, back, fold it in half. Take 11 by 17 US letter, fold it in half in the middle, and you have 8.5 pages. But then I looked at the price. The price for the page count doesn't make sense. And this has been an issue with me for a long time. And I know it's been an issue for a lot of people. So I wanted to take a look at this real quick. So currently, if you take a typical 28-page comic book and divide it by the price, you'll get a per page cost of 14.25 cents. Let's just say 14 cents. It's easy math, but there you go. So let me now do this with a 32-page book, which you'll get. That the typical book will cost you 12.4 cents. That is a literal 2-cent difference. Now, not a big deal, but it is the cost that you're paying per book. Like I said, you're losing pages and you're still paying the same amount. I refer to this from my days looking at grocery shopping as the incredible shrinking machine. So they take out something like a signature, 28 pages, doesn't look like a big deal. You won't even notice it. But I noticed it. I noticed it quickly, and I noticed it kind of upset me. And I was like, oh, and this is from Marvel. So I haven't checked DC because I've been like, ooh, what was this? Let's take a look at DC. Wonder Woman is 40 pages, 40, which means 12 more pages than Marvel. And it's a cover price of $4.99, 12.4 cents per page. Same consistency as the 32 page, price falls in line. Interesting. But Marvel's new book, price is up. So let's find something else that I can take a look at. Ooh, Externals 3, which is odd since I didn't see Externals 2. Also, $3.99, 28 pages. Children of the Atom. This is a new book. This is a book that got delayed due to the whole COVID, and now it's finally coming out. And I thought it was like, okay, let's see this premise. X-Men having sidekicks. I didn't know. Okay, this book is 44 pages. And costs $4.99. Does that mean more ads? Does that mean more content? I don't know. So let's see. This book per page is going to cost you 11.3. So 11 cents per page. And I just think it's interesting. It's like, interesting. Certain things cost you more versus other things. This is one of those ones that 44 pages, which 48 would have been normal, or 40. Signature of 4. Remember, it's always 4. That's the new signature count. It's 4. Why didn't they do that? And even better, what's going to happen in this 44 pages? I know with Wonder Woman, I believe there was a pickup story in there, a backup story. Let's figure out. Maybe they do the typical size comic book, 24 pages, and then another 6 to 8. Let's say 8. So that will give you about 8 pages of ads, which isn't a bad deal, relatively speaking. But it's just interesting, just looking at some of the prices of books. Batman Urban Legend is listed for $7.99. It's 64 pages. Let's see, I'm just kind of curious now that I'm doing this. 12.4. See, that's falling consistent with what it should be. So I'm guessing the price point that people have accepted is 12.4 cents per page. That looks like that's the standard pricing model. Now, I don't know how true that is. I don't know. I guess it is what it is. Oh, look, Taskmaster number 4 is coming out. I think it's on time or late. I can't even tell anymore. But just, I guess that's the range we're falling in. Oh, okay, Nonstop Spider-Man is also coming out. $4.99 is the price listed, 44 pages. So I guess this is something they're doing. I guess all the new books, they're trying to increase the price and increase it by $1 in comparison to the ones that are currently out. But let's see if it's all the number ones. I'm looking. These are more independents. Let me look at The Goon. The Goon is well known. How many pages is The Goon? 32 pages, $3.99. See what I would expect. Those 4 pages. So I'm trying to see if I can find something that looks odd price-wise. $3.99, $3.99. Sweet Tooth. This is from DC Comics. This should be 32 pages. See? So there is some fluctuation in pricing. Okay, Joker number 1, 40 pages, $4.99, 12.4. See, everybody's falling into 12.4, which is, I guess, a good thing because that's what it is. Certain books. But when Marvel does 28-page books, you can feel a difference, or at least I can. I mean, you should feel a difference. You've lost. So 32, 4 pages. Jeez, almost a full signature, which is like 10% of the book. Doesn't sound like much, but 10% is 10%, and you're paying for that extra 10%. So yeah, so it kind of just came out of nowhere. I just thought I'd talked about it. And have you noticed that books are getting thinner? I mean, they're getting more expensive and thinner. 12.4 cents a page. That's what it's really supposed to be. I guess that's the mathematic of the day. And this goes back to my same question. Can you make cheaper comic books? Can the paper be cheaper? Because the technology has definitely increased over time when I first started reading comics, when it was on newsprint. But maybe stuff should be done on newsprint. Because it's got to be cheaper. But do they want it to be cheaper? I mean, I would if I was going to be trying to sell to kids who didn't have a lot of money, or my personal favorite, the single mom with 2 or 3 kids. You want to make comic books cheap as possible so they can make them really buy them and make them virtually disposable. But you build a fan base that way. But I guess with videos and movies and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about that if you're a large multinational company. But if you're a starting small comic company, what are you going to do? How are you going to build a fan base? You can tell the best stories in the world. No one will ever read them if they can't get up for a reasonable price. And let's not even talk about online sales, because I think that's another weird situation in itself. I think it's great that people want to sell online like that, but to sell comic books in that way, I don't see the interest being big enough where the numbers equal that. I mean, if you look at gaming as a prime example, like we'll look at Fantasy Grounds, like we were talking last week to Mr. Tui. He was telling us that the sales online at Fantasy Ground was 10% of what the full sales of the PDF were online. So maybe that's the same thing with digital. And I think with the price they charge for digital makes no sense. It should be a subscription base, $9.99, buy it, read as much as you want. Because realistically, the books aren't even owned by them. They're just visiting the books. Just some things to think about, if you're thinking about getting into comics, if you're thinking about the business side, you're thinking about economics, where this all ties in, just something to take a look at. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching our video, and we'll talk to you later. Hey, thank you for checking out my channel. Do me a favor, check out my other videos, and if you like what you see, subscribe.